Hello. My name is Mike Walsh, and I wrote for Fokker from about 2011 to 2017. And Jonathan frequently asked me to write about bands. And I had actually never done that before. And I didn't know how to do it. So I started looking at what Jonathan had written. And as you might imagine, I was kind of amazed. What I found were ideas and insights encased in verbal gymnastics and stylistic flourishes. And flourishes isn't even a strong enough word for what he did. With each sentence, it was like he was channeling the electric Kool-Aid acid test or something. He praised bands, he swooned, he lectured. At times he despaired. Reviewing rock records to him was basically just about writing about life. It was how to live life. He never criticized or mocked bands, at least in any of the reviews that I saw. He had been in a band, as you all know, the mighty Cyclone Rangers, and he respected the musicians too much for snarkiness, except for the occasional exception of Fred Durst, perhaps. And when it came to politics, no holds were barred. But when Jonathan was good, when his writing was good, he was very good. And his writing rose to poetry, in my opinion. He was Philly's secret rock sage. He was Philly's version of Lester Bangs. Like any good author, he had spent decades developing and honing a unique style, which came through in every piece, from the 12,000-word feature to the one-paragraph concert preview. And he was a master at the one-paragraph concert preview, by the way. And he managed to cobble together a living out of freelance writing. And not for big magazines, not for really big, high-paying magazines either. And that's something very few writers have ever been able to do, at least for more than a year or two. So I really admired him. And on top of that, he had this little side project called Fokker, which he did in his spare time. So here are a few samples of his writing, which I picked out just reading a few of his reviews in the last couple days. You could pick out any, and you'd find samples this good. About the first Sonics record, he wrote, "The needle-pinning, speaker-blowing, tonsil-shredding, balls-to-the-wall mating call of 5 hormonal mid-1960s teenage savages forever in hot pursuit of Mad Men-era booze, cigarettes, sex, and magic." That was the Sonics for Jonathan. Let's see, I've got a time limit up here, so I can't go through all the samples. About Brittany Howard, he wrote, one of her records was a mesmerizing goat's head soup of 21st century psychedelia, blunt-stoked R&B, gospel rapture, moonlight lullaby, and greasy funk that dances with the devil and gets right with God somehow all at once. It's a shape-shifting series of prismatic sonic vignettes that rips the Band-Aid off the psychic lacerations of race, region, religion, and sexual personae. Here's a really strange review that he wrote. This is the last paragraph about a fellow by the name of Hayward Hawkins. Record is called Hale and Hardy. I've never heard the record. It doesn't really matter. But this was his last paragraph. "Imagine, if you will, M. Ward and Antony naked and slathered in milk and honey, sealed in a giant clamshell to baste for 1,000 years. A millennium from now, long after the oceans have evaporated and the insects once again rule the earth, when the shell opens music box style, a magnificent pearl will sit on the half shell. And when you rub it, much like when you wet your finger and run around the lip of a crystal glass, out will come the sound of enchantment. And it will sound uncannily like Hale and Hardy." About the internet, John had a few things to say. And this was from like 2014. He wrote, In the immortal words of the chairman of the board, it was a very good year. So was last year, and the one before that, and the one before that, and so on. Why? Mostly, we can thank the disruptive game-eating power of the internet. The best thing that ever happened to music was the web-abetted collapse of the music industry's one-size-fits-most paradigm, and the death of radio as the prime detriment of what people like. Yes, John didn't mince words. Now people find music everywhere. It literally rains out of every device with an electric pulse, which has triggered a radical recalibration of the vectors of popularity. Even the most idiosyncratic sounds find their tribe sooner or later. The internet is good at keeping many things, but a secret is not one of them. And good music will out. You know where to find it. Quoteth the bard, and by the bard, by the way, he didn't mean Shakespeare. Anybody know what he meant by the bard? The quote is, "Let all the children boogie." It was David Bowie was the bard to Jonathan Valania. That's true. That's right. And when David Bowie died, Jonathan wrote an article about it, and that hit him pretty hard. Let me find it here. This is my last quote. And this was the last paragraph from this article he wrote. And I think this may have given him a little bit of solace. He wrote, "David Bowie is not dead, because David Bowie will never die. Oh, sure, that guy born David Robert Jones is gone, and that's a terrible loss for his friends and family. But people like you and me, we never knew that guy. Because in the end, David Bowie was, above all things, an idea, a brilliant idea. And you cannot kill an idea. Not even cancer can kill an idea. And that idea is this: we are the imagination of ourselves. We control the illusion, and we can change it at any time. We can be black, white, striped, gay, straight, bi, trans, Martian, glam, goth, hot funk, cool punk, old junk, a bottle blonde, a ginger, a jazzer, or even drums and bass. There is no right answer, but sooner or later you become yourself. That is the idea of David Bowie, and that is the idea that will never die. Yeah, he got that one. He got that right. So not enough people knew and appreciated Jonathan's writing. But we get to in Fokker, and that's our secret. And that's what we share. And that's his gift to us. Thank you. Thanks for listening. And thank you to Jonathan Valania.